Hi, it's the Rawesome Vegan Gal here, and as you can see, I'm wearing my Eden apron, and I also have my Eden bag because today it's time for tea with Eden Foods, and I'm going to be talking about their teas and making some, and also this is from Prolific Teacup. This is their teapot, and I want to thank Amanda from Eden Foods and Lily from Prolific Teacup for getting the products over to me that I can review. So to begin with, I'm going to show you this teapot because it's really interesting and nice, and it comes in this box over here. It's called Tea for Two, and it holds about 3.5 cups of liquid, like about 28 ounces or 800 milliliters. So this is really a nice product. It is heat-resistant glass, eco-friendly. It's handmade. Actually, it says, I think, that each one says on here, each one is handmade, so each one is one of a kind. And what else can I tell you? It's also microwave safe and easy to clean. It also has a stainless steel infuser, and I'll show that to you in just a moment. What else I can tell you about this? It's very, like I say, it's very unique. It has anti-thermal shock technology, so it's heat-resistant glass that allows to pour into it directly boiling water or ice-cold water. So it says from -4 Fahrenheit to 300 Fahrenheit. That's pretty amazing. It is stovetop safe, but they recommend you use a low to medium flame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a flame tamer underneath my flame just to protect it. And it says it's also dishwasher and microwave safe. I don't have a microwave and I don't recommend them, but that's very interesting too. It also has a drip-free spout. So it makes tea drinking more enjoyable and less cleanup for spills. So that's really awesome. So again, it's not a large teapot, but it holds a significant amount enough of water for you to make for yourself or for even a few people to have a tea or maybe a small teacup. So let me show you the teapot itself. It's really nice. It's very lightweight. So inside here is the insert. I like this because then you could do loose teas. So I'm going to show you that. So it's stainless steel, and the top here, it's a silicone, so there's no BPA, and it fits right in, and it stays in there pretty nice. And then when you want to just boil your water without, you just take that out. So you can put the loose tea leaves in here and then dump them out when you're done. So I'm just going to set this up. This is my flame tamer. I'm just going to set this up on the little stove here for when I make it, so it will be ready. And put the teapot on top. So now I'm going to talk to you about the teas that from Eden. So I have a few different ones, and they have quite a bit of teas that they carry. A lot of them are traditional green teas, such as Sencha, Chamomile. Chamomile is actually an herb tea, it's not a green tea. They have Hojicha, which is roasted green tea, Kukicha, which is twig tea, Genmaicha, I might be pronouncing these wrong because they're Japanese words, is a green tea and brown rice. They have Sencha, which is spearmint and peppermint. They have Sencha rose, Sencha ginger, Hojicha chai. Some really interesting. They have many varieties. I don't have them all. I have some different ones. They also have something called mood tea. They also have lotus root tea. They also have green matcha. Comes as a powder. So I have a few different ones that I'm going to talk to you about. And first I want to tell you a little bit about green tea and what the benefits are. So they've been having production for 35 years on their tea plantations of Uji, Japan, if I'm pronouncing that right. And also they use Egyptian chamomile, Bulgarian rose hips, and Moroccan rose petals. And their growers are dedicated to the life of plant and soil. So the teas that nourish, balance, and excite. They're authentic. And they have very strict handling to them. So just for you to know, when I open up the package, I'll tell you that what it tells me in this little brochure here is that most of the time they're made with the tea bags are made with toxic. It's called epichlorohydrin plasticizers that allow them to be heat sealed, and that's very bad. And in the tea bag strings also, but these are organically grown. Most of the teas are organically grown, except for a couple that don't say, like the moo and I think the lotus root. So they say here everything about the tea bag, from its manila fibers to its 100% cotton string and crimped seal, protect this tea. The tea bags are oxygen washed without polluting whiteners. And the boxes are made of recycled material and printed using vegetable-based inks. And so the string, that's what I've had issue with before. A lot of companies have their tea bags and like they staple the string to the tea bag. So when you're putting the tea bag in your water, you're getting the staple. They have a staple on the very end, which is not as crucial, but the staple that's on the actual tea bag itself. So here I can show you a picture, but I'll show it to you also when I take out the tea. So you see there's no staple on that. So just to tell you a little bit about green tea. Green tea has become the second most popular beverage to water, and it became more popular here in about 1990, where the sales, people were drinking it quadrupled. Green tea has very high antioxidant health benefits. It's the polyphenol antioxidants, the tannins and flavonoids, including, if I could pronounce this, it's epigallocatechin gallate. I might have pronounced that right, but it's for short EGCG, which is easier to say. They comprise 40% of green tea's dry weight. And green tea has been linked to gradual but remarkable weight loss consequences for people who might need that. And it helps in safely losing weight by raising metabolism, burning fat, and abating fat storage. The amino acid l-theanine in green tea simultaneously stimulates and soothes, providing a much more balanced and steady uplift than coffee. And let's see what else I can tell you before I show you. Tea, it says tea can mean many things, but the true tea comes from the plant Camellia sinensis, and it becomes green, black, oolong, or other varieties in the way it's handled, cured, or allowed to oxidize. So that's very interesting. Why you have different names because of how they are cured. So for Chinese and English black teas, the leaves are thoroughly oxidized. For even Sencha Japanese green tea, oxidation is stopped immediately after harvest with a purposeful steaming and rubbing that preserves the bright green of its chlorophyll. Avoiding oxidation is why green tea is special in its health benefits. Various grades of green tea come from harvest at different times of the year and from distinct curing methods of it. Brewing tea takes just a few minutes, but each of them is important. The first phytochemicals released are the acidic astringent ones. Next comes the alkaloid compounds balancing them. So this is very interesting education about green tea. Discerning green tea is wise. It nourishes, refreshes, and provides a reflective antidote to stress. Making time for tea a regular practice is easy with the finest and rewarding tea that can be found. And like I said, Eden Green Tea is grown by it's called the Nagata family on their tea cooperative since 1974. And so what else can I tell you? Let's see. And they don't use any additives, flavoring, dyes, or other ingredients in their teas. So now I'm going to start showing you some of the teas and talking to you about them. And just a little more on green tea from a different paper here that I have. They say it can do everything from disease fighting, protecting against cancer, heart disease, and diabetes, supporting better brain function. It's also good for colds or influenza. Green tea is also good for fatigue, mental sharpness, weight loss. So like it has a lot of properties. And we're going to not cover there's other things that other types of teas are good for, but we're going to focus on the ones that I'm showing you. So now I'm going to start showing you the teas and then start making some. So I have some different ones here. I have the organic Hojicha, which is the roasted green tea. And this I have in tea bags. It comes in 16 tea bags. And I don't know that this comes loose or not. I'm not quite sure. So, and this can be served, like I said, hot or cold. They're roasted early summer tea leaves is what it says here. And this is certified organic. Then I have the organic chamomile, which is, sorry, I'm out of which is, there's no caffeine, it's caffeine free. So this is chamomile herb tea, also 16 tea bags. And it says here that the flowers are harvested as soon as they bloom. It has volatile oils, organic acids, and flavonoids, credited for its relaxing, soothing properties. Also, chamomile, let's see, it's good for if you have kind of intestinal distress. It's also good for insomnia, like when you go to the bathroom and you have, some problems. It's also very relaxing, so I don't know that I'll be making the chamomile this time, but just so you know, what they say here is heat the water to a rolling boil, fill a cup, and steep the tea bag. So you boil the water first, and then put it in the water for 4 minutes, and also you can make it iced as well. And this is a product of Egypt, actually. And it is organic, certified. Okay, and then, so those are the tea bags. But I have one more that's tea bags, and that is a very interesting type of tea called mu tea, which has 16 different traditional Chinese healing herbs. That was formulated by Giorgio Savo, who is the father of macrobiotics. It's used for increased strength and vitality. It's a strong herbal tea to be used in moderation. And it has 6 tea bags here, and each bag makes 1 large pot. What does that mean? It's 1 quart of water, boil for at least 10 minutes. You put the tea bag in the water. And what this has in it is mandarin orange peel, Hojicha, I don't know what that is, Japanese parsley root, peony root, atractilis root, cinnamon, angelica root, licorice, ginger root, cyperus root, apricot kernel, Rehmannia root, Panax ginseng root, so it's got ginseng, that's for, energy, clove, coptis root, and mutan root. I don't know. Some of those I do not know. Oh, and by the way, they are all the teas I'm talking about are also kosher powered. So 6 tea bags make 6 large pots. And I might try this out, but I only have enough for about 3.5 cups of water in here, so it might just be a smaller amount. And then the 2 others that I have are loose leaf tea. So I'm going to make one of them to show you how it works in the teapot. So one is the Sencha, or the Hojicha. It's the loose green tea. So that comes like that. And this comes in, it's 2.25 ounces. So this is the earliest spring leaves from the Kyoto area are tended, harvested, prepared exactly as they've been for centuries. Freshly hand-picked, immediately steamed and rubbed, sealing in flavor and aroma while preserving the bright green color before drying. The uplifting tea with healthy antioxidant catechins, they're called, and 41% less caffeine than coffee. Let's see, what else? So how do you do this? You take 1 teaspoon of leaves in a small teapot, bring 1 cup water almost to a boil, and pour over the leaves. So with this pot, what I would do is probably put the leaves into a cup, because I only have 1 little stove here, and then pour the water over it, and you just let it steep for 2 minutes. Do not use, it says do not recommend the boiling water. So that's that one. And the other loose tea I have is called the Kukicha, which is Japanese loose twig tea, and this is a roasted tea. And they're made from the 3 autumn and winter clippings of the tea plant, the same plant I mentioned before, the Camellia sinensis. Again, I'm probably not pronouncing it right. The first occurs when the plant is a minimum of 3 years old. Twice per year thereafter, thin twigs and stems are clipped. And every 10 years, thick twigs are clipped. The twigs are separately steamed, sun-dried for 1 week, and aged for 2 to 3 years. Wow, that's a long process. Then roasted in gas-fired cast iron rotating ovens to develop its distinctive smoky flavor and aroma. Imagine, it must be a real treat, like, to go actually to where this is made, and this is, I think, in Japan, in Japan, to see how they make it traditionally. It'd be very interesting to go and to see where they do it, because it sounds like such an interesting process, but again, you wouldn't get to see all of it happening, because it takes years for things to happen. It's very low caffeine level. It says 90% less than coffee, makes it ideal for both children and adults. So this one it says place 2 tablespoons twigs in 5 cups water, bring to a boil, simmer 3 to 5 minutes. And for children, you may want to mix it with some apple juice for them. And you can reuse the twigs again to make a milder pot of tea. So I'm not going to be doing 5 cups of water because my teapot doesn't have it if I do this one. I haven't decided which ones I'm going to do as yet. Let me see if I have any more information I want to share with you. So like I said, the other teas I'm not going to talk about because I don't have them to show you. But the Hojicha, there's some more information about that I'd like to share. These are grown back after the spring harvest, the tea leaves, and they are steamed twice, rubbed, and partially dried, just as they are for the Sencha. And before completely drying, they're put into a large iron cauldrons to be slowly and repeatedly heated and cooled until an experienced master senses that they're perfectly roasted. Like I say, it must be an amazing experience. This preparation allows subtle and multiple interactions between the iron of the wood-fired cauldrons and the leaves. Following the purposeful rubbing, roasting enhances the availability of the beneficial elements in the organically grown leaves and creates a surprisingly delicious tea. So it says it tends towards English teas, but it delivers a smoother, richer, more soothing pleasure. And then let's see if I have more information. This is the chamomile. If I have any more information to share you on that. So it says it's harvested just as the blooms open to capture its optimal golden color, delicate flavor, and pleasing aroma. And it's relaxing for nighttime. And since I'm not recording this at night, I probably will not be making that tea. So let's see what I would like to start with. Let's see. Trying to decide. I think I'm going to do the Sencha, which is the loose green tea. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a teaspoon, and I have a mug here that I'm going to use. I'm going to take a teaspoon and put it into the cup, and then I'm going to boil the water. I think it would be better to do it that way. And again, I'm going to do it on a low. It has a nice smell, and let's see if I could show some to you for you to see in this little container so you can see what they look like. They do have a nice green color. See if I could show this to you in the camera, if you could see that. And try to get closer. You see it has a nice rich green color, and they preserve it the way it's cured. So I'm going to measure out, they said, a teaspoon in a small pot and bring 1 cup of water to a boil. So I'm going to just measure out a teaspoon, and I think I almost have a teaspoon. Let me get a little bit more here in my little measuring spoon. Okay. And then with the tea leaves, what you do afterwards, I just compost them. I don't throw out anything that's food related. So that's that. And then I'm going to get, I need a measuring cup. I did not have one prepared. So excuse me for being out from the camera. So I'm going to measure out a cup of water and put that into the teapot. So since I'm doing this without it's not a loose tea, I'm going to take out the insert for now, and I'm going to measure out my cup of water. So again, it says to do this on a low flame, and that's why I have the flame tamer here. So the flame tamer helps to evenly distribute the heat. That's why it's good. It's a good thing to look into. You can probably find them on Amazon. I think that's where I got mine. So I'm going to let this, it might take a little bit of time to boil. But it's better with the flame tamer because then you're protecting the pot as well. Because the heat may come a little further than the, away from the actual pot itself. So I'm going to turn it down just a little more. So I want to read what it says here again. It says bring it to almost a boil. So I'm going to watch that so it doesn't boil. And while that's going, since that's going to take a little time, I can tell you about some of the other teas that they have, since I've already shared with you everything that I have here. Another really nice tea that Eden carries is lotus root tea. You might not know about lotus root tea. They have a powder. It's actually very good for the lungs. It helps clear the lungs. And this one has ginger root in it, and it's a powder. The other thing that they have, let's see what other teas they have. Like I mentioned, they have the Sencha mint. I have just the plain. Do I have the Sencha? I have the Hojicha. Yes, I'm doing the Sencha now. I have that one, but it also comes in tea bags with peppermint and spearmint. And I just wanted to see here the ones that I'm doing that are, so the Kukicha comes both in the loose that I have here, and it also comes in tea bags. And then the Sencha comes as well in loose and tea bags, and they all come with 16 bags. And then the Moo actually are already in tea bags. It's just in this pouch. And the Hojicha, and there's also Hojicha chai. Those only come in tea bags. And yeah, I think that's it on those that I could tell you. I want to just check on the water here, see how it's doing. I don't see any bubbles yet, so it might take a little longer. So let me see what else I can tell you while we're waiting for the water. It may take a little bit of time. Let's see. So what I can do too, oh, so I want to mention also about ginseng, because that's in the moo tea. There's some interesting ingredients in the moo tea. So ginseng is very good, let's see, for mental sharpness. Let's see what else. It's also good for fatigue. And let's see, any more information I can give you about ginseng. It's a classic herbal tonic. Asian cultures have been using this for thousands of years as an energizer and counteracts stress and fatigue. Ginseng doesn't lead to a surge of energy, rather it encourages a gradual restoring of energy reserves. So what it is it works to kind of change your system as opposed to giving you like this burst of energy or like a burst of caffeine that just gives you kind of a high and then gives you a low. So it's kind of more like gradual where it builds up your own energy reserves. So the effects can be subtle. Some people only notice the effects after they stop taking it, when the energizing effect fades away. That's interesting. There are many varieties that can be brewed into tea, including the Chinese, Korean, Siberian, and American. So the one in the moo tea is the Panax ginseng, which I'm not sure which one that is as far as variety. It doesn't say on this article that I'm looking at. And the matcha tea that we mentioned, they do carry a matcha tea, is made by whisking and dissolving powdered green tea leaves in hot water, rather than brewing the tea leaves themselves, which is very interesting. So you're just whisking it around. The resulting beverage is what they call froth of liquid jade. It has a vibrant, bright green color and light, sweet taste. Since the entire tea leaves are consumed, matcha provides much higher amounts of antioxidants than teas made from steep leaves, and provides health benefits similar to those of other forms of green tea. So that's also very interesting. So they sell actually a kit that you could purchase, and I could show you a picture. I think I have a picture here. So they have a complete kit which includes a bamboo whisk, a spoon, handmade ceramic bowl, which is I guess how they drink it, and 30 grams of the stone ground matcha, and a DVD. So here's a picture of the whole kit right here. You can get the matcha kit. You could also just get the matcha like this powder, and here's the lotus root powder. So just for you to see a picture. And you can all find about that online, and I didn't mention that, just checking on the water here. It's starting maybe to get hot slowly. I'm going to turn it down just a little, just to protect the glass. I don't want it to be harmed. So I will include links below this video to Eden Foods, and as well as where you can get this wonderful teapot. So let me just check on the water here. It's starting, I think, to get warm. Looks like I'm seeing a few little bubbles finally coming up. And just to reiterate what it says on here, it says bring it to almost to a boil. So I would say it's pretty close. So I'm going to actually pour, and the handle is a little hot. You have to be careful. So if you have a thing like I do, you know, get a hot something to handle it, because the handle is kind of hot. So I'm just going to hold the cover down and pour it. So yeah, the water is quite hot. So I'm just pouring it over into the pot here. I should say into the cup. And I'm going to turn off the gas here so I don't have any problems. And so then that's supposed to steep for a couple minutes. And I'm not sure if it's safe to use the pot. It says you can pour hot things into the teapot, so I imagine then it would probably be safe to pour cold water in it while it's hot. I don't know, maybe I should let it cool off. So if I'm going to make something else. So I'm letting that steep, because then I wanted to try something else, maybe something in a tea bag. Not the chamomile, maybe the roasted green tea, which says to heat water to a rolling boil, fill a cup, and so you're going to steep the tea bag. So you need to heat the water up. So now with this, you would want to strain it, but I might just drink it as is with the leaves and then see how that goes, because I think it's pretty much ready. So I'm going to probably take a sip and let you know how it tastes. Excuse me. Definitely can taste the flavor of the green tea. It does taste authentic. It has a nice flavor. So I'm going to let that sit and cool off a little bit. So what I'm going to do actually is just show you what the Kukicha, because I don't think I'm going to make that today. I'm going to show you what the leaves, and they have a really nice aroma because they're roasted. I'm going to show you what they look like as well. They're just twigs. That's all they are, and it's interesting that it's from the plant. I'm going to show that to you again in here, just to see what it looks like. They just look like twigs, like it came off of, you know, a branch of a, you know, but it is a tea plant. So these are the different twigs that I mentioned. They have a couple of different cuttings that they do, and then they steam, sun dry, and then they roast them. So I'm going to show you what those look like. If you can see that in here, you can see what they look like. You have like a brownish. I can actually take some out of here so you can see. Have a nice, so I'm going to try a little bit more of this roasted green tea. I should say, this is not roasted. I'm sorry, it's loose green tea. the roasted I just showed you. It has a nice taste. It's kind of soothing. Has a soothing flavor. So I'm not sure if this is cooling down enough for me to, yeah, I think it's cooling down enough because I'd like to just make probably the, what did I say I was going to make? The, I wanted to do something with the insert, but that would involve me using the Kukicha, and I don't have enough water. I don't know how much I'm going to need. So just so you know that this would work for the loose tea, I'm just not using it today. So I think I'm going to make the roasted green tea. We're going to try that out. And it does smell roasted before we finish this video. So what I want to do is I want to get the water up again, because that takes a little bit of time, so we can end this video. It won't be too long. So I'm going to, just about a cup here, put that in here, into the teapot. Now if I was going to use the insert, I'm not sure if 1 cup actually does reach the water, but only slightly. So if you're going to use the insert, you'd probably need at least 2 cups of water for it to, like, for the leaves to get in there. So I'm going to turn this on again and turn down the gas so it's not too high. So with this one, they say you should do it like it says on the package. Heat water to a rolling boil and then steep for 5 to 7 minutes. So these come in a little, in there, like I said, I explained to you, comes in these little packages, and they don't use any chemicals or anything, and I'll show you what it looks like. It does have a nice smell because it's roasted green tea. So I'm going to take it out of here to show you. So again, like I said, they don't use any staples on here, you could see, which is great. And not on here either. So this is the Hojicha. It has a nice smell. And in the meantime, I should be drinking my green tea. And what I could do is I could actually use this as a strainer. So I'm going to strain that into something else to drink out of, because I don't have, I use this cup here. So this can also be used as a strainer. It's multi-purpose. So now I could actually show you the color of the tea, since I strained it out of here and put it in here. Now you can see it has a very light, mild green color. So I'm going to finish drinking this. And it is nice. It is very, very subtle. It's not like heavy or intense. It's just very relaxing. And by now it's already cooled off quite a bit, so. You know, traditionally Japanese, they drink a lot of green tea. Like after you eat your meal, usually most people don't drink right after you eat. You wait a little bit longer. It is very nice. like even says in their literature, everything's authentic and done with quality and care and integrity. So that's good to know. If you're going to buy green tea and get something good, you want to make sure you get the best. Don't skimp on it when it comes to your health. So like I said, with these green tea leaves now, they've kind of expanded. I showed you them before, so this is very interesting to see. I could show that to you in the camera. You see how they expanded? They were kind of dried, now they kind of expanded in there. So like I said, this I'll just throw out into the compost and see how our water's doing here. I don't want this to get too hot. Like I said, the handle does get hot, so be very careful if you're going to do it like I do, because I have the way my stove is set up, and since this is a small teapot, it's not like a larger surface area. It has a very small surface area in the bottom, so you just want to be very careful when you're handling the handle, because it will get hot. So what I'm going to do is have my cup ready here, and there's still some green tea leaves in this, so I'm going to get them out. So yeah, so this came in handy as a strainer as well. Besides diffusing when you actually use it for making tea. So hopefully the water will be ready soon, so that the video doesn't end up being super long. I'm not sure how long it is. I haven't looked at it. But I hope this information is helpful to you to learn more about teas, because a lot of people don't, a lot of people just buy teas at the store and they don't really know what they're buying or what the benefits are of them. And, whether you live in an area in the world right now where it's cold, or even if it's not so cold, you don't have to have the tea super hot. Like I just had it, it was more like a nice room temperature, a little warmer than room temperature, but not super hot. So any way you do it, however it works for you. And again, if you want to cool it off, you can also add, like I said, you can use apple juice, or if you want to add ice, make it an iced tea. You can do that, or just let it cool off to the temperature that you like. So I'm just having my tea bag ready here so we can see if this is almost ready. It's kind of coming, it's not quite boiling. It's supposed to come to a rolling boil. I might take that a step up and not wait that long, because it might take too long for that to happen. So it's kind of getting warm. And I see some little bubbles on the bottom. So it's not quite at a rolling boil yet. So I'm just going to show you the others as well. I'm going to open up the chamomile while I'm waiting, so you can see that. And the way I would do it, like with the tea bags, how I would compost it, because I'm sure this bag is probably compostable as well. So, but if you want, you could just open up the bag and throw it in your garden, and I'm sure this paper is recyclable. I'm into all that. So, but this is most likely compostable. I don't know if it's said on the information, but I just want to show you the chamomile. So this is the chamomile, and you can smell it. It has a beautiful aroma. So it comes in these little bags. And I did not show you the muti. And I think the water's slowly coming up to boil. So and these I didn't mention, the ones that come in these pouches that are loose actually have a Ziploc or a resealable closure. So, and this is the muti that I mentioned is, you shouldn't use it too often because it's it's very strong. So this does not come with any string on it. It just comes like this. And then you would just boil it for 10 minutes in the water itself. And I think you only use it once. But it has a really nice smell, and I'm trying to see if I recognize some of the aroma. Maybe it's the orange peel I smell, and the ginger root. It does have ginger root. So it's very energizing. It's very strengthening to the body. So if you have issues yourself, if you're low on energy or vitality, this is definitely something that George Osawa actually developed. He came up with it, and why it's called mu, I don't know, but maybe mu, I don't know what that means. It might be a Japanese word, but 16 is because I believe there's 16 ingredients in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, or it looks like 17, or maybe there's supposed to be 16. I might be reading it wrong. So he must have come up with his configuration, as studying all these different herbs and finding the most perfect blend to put together that has these benefits to the body. So definitely something you want to look into. Again, this would make like a quart of, about a quart of tea, so you can have that, you know, over a few days. You probably could store it in the fridge and then have it room temperature or rewarm it. So I'm just getting some bubbles now, so I'm going to actually call it done because it's warmer than it was for the other tea. So this is the roasted one, so I'm going to be careful again. The handle is quite hot. I'm going to do this and you have to be really careful. I don't have the right mitt, and I want to be careful. And I always hold down the cover anyway, even though it says, well, I can see if it doesn't go. Yeah, it doesn't actually move. It holds, which is what you want so it doesn't spill. So the water is relatively hot, and again, you don't want to, I don't usually put this back on the stove. I'm just putting it down here. So then you want to let this steep. It says for about 5 minutes, and I'm just covering this with my sushi mat, and actually Eden does sells sushi mats as well. And in my last video, I actually did on sea vegetables, I talked about this, but I like to use the sushi mats as well for covering things while they're either steeping or cooling off, because that helps. So we're going to wait just a couple minutes on that. So I want to, oh, this is kind of hot. I don't know if I think I brought the teapot close to show you, but I'm going to bring it again just for you to see. It's got a really nice spout here. I'm going to come really close. It has a little angle, if you could see that on there, which is really nice. So when it pours, so see, as I'm holding it, the cover is staying. What it does is it moves away from it's kind of centered, but as you're pouring it, what it is the lip is made really well, and you're not seeing me because I'm trying to show you the teapot. It's made really well because it doesn't actually come off unless you're tipping it too far, but as I'm pouring it, like this is as if I was pouring it, the cover does not come off, and it does not drip. It's because of how they make the lip here. It's really made quite well. I'm very impressed with this teapot, and I do recommend you look into getting it yourself because I think you'll be very happy with it, because it has it can be used for so many different things, and it can be used on your stovetop. A lot of times you have a type of teapot like this where they don't let you do that because of the heat. So I have a little bit more water left in here that I'm just going to pour into here and just let it cool off. What I don't recommend, and I don't know what the company would say, is if the teapot is still hot to put, I personally would wait, even though it says you could put hot boiling water or very cold water in it, but when it's already hot without the water in it, I would probably wait till it cools off a little bit, and it cools off pretty fast before I would put something else in it. So I'm going to see how this tea tastes, because it's been in here a few minutes, and it's going to be quite hot, but I can smell it. It smells really good. So I taste a little bit of the roasting. I don't think it's much. It's not as roasted as long or as much, I think, as the Kukicha. The Kukicha is really kind of like that roasted coffee aroma, but it does taste good. Again, mild flavor, soothing, very relaxing. This is what you'd want to have after a meal, but usually you should wait about 30 minutes to an hour is best before you have your tea. So that's all I have for you today. I'm just going to quickly go through these teas before we end the video. So we have the Sencha loose green tea, and we have the Kukicha loose twig tea. And I did try the Sencha, and then we have the organic chamomile tea bags. And then we have the Hojicha roasted green tea, which I did try today. And finally the moo tea, which I did not try, but I talked to you about it. And of course our wonderful teapot here from Prolific Teacup with the stainless steel diffuser insert that I use as a strainer, which comes very well to use it either way. However you want to use it, it works. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I thank you for watching. It's the Rawesome Vegan Gal.